horses, whitewater, rappelling, climbing, fly fishing. I love this.
To share this with you guys, to find something out about myself, I hope what God's doing in our hearts and our lives touches others in some way.
This awakens things in me that I do not get back in the 9 to 5.
It's going to bring some stuff up, and I'm really kind of looking forward to that.
Come on. Let's go. There's something in me that really wants to do it. There's something in me that's not sure that I can, but I really want to try.
I think for me, I'm looking for a little deeper discovery in my life.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, and then he did something even more remarkable. He set his own image on that earth in a very unique way. Male and female, he created them. Hi, I'm John Eldredge. Welcome to the Wild at Heart video series. 5 friends spending 8 days here in Colorado to take a journey in search of that masculine heart. No scripts, just the honest questions and the weight of our own lives, looking for that battle to fight, that adventure to live, and that beauty to rescue. We wanted to create more than just a tool. We wanted to bring you into an experience that will help you in your masculine journey and to help you form your own band of brothers. I think you're going to like this.
Who is this?
Crockett.
Hey, Crockett.
I've been on a horse one time. 18-wheeler came by and the horse went up and just started taking off, and I got thrown off.
He reared up?
He reared up, and I was 9, you know. I haven't been on a horse since then.
I don't want to look like the fool. I don't want to look like the idiot, you know, falling off the side of the saddle.
You guys will both do great.
Yeah.
We're gonna ride up into the mountains, then break out onto the open meadow up in the high country.
We'll need you to lead us, Bart.
Well, hey.
The race is the part I don't particularly care for.
Oh, listen, after the lope, when we're racing, that's scary.
Yeah.
I'm worried about that, staying on the horse.
He's a firecracker. I got on this guy last year. He was trying to bust out of the corral. It was like a bat out of hell. Genesis 1, in the beginning, God creates man and woman in his image. So the Lord God created them in his image. Male and female, he made them. There's something that God has set within us as men. It's unique to us, something personal to each man, but then something that really is common to us all. I want that. I feel like that got lost somewhere, maybe back in my past, certainly part of the fall. I want that back. I want it alive. I want it free. I want it restored. What is it that makes our hearts as men come alive? Let's start with films. What are the movies that just get you, out of the seat and you're there. You want it. You're in it. That's it. That's me.
For me, it's Glory. I remember the first time I saw Glory. And I remember just weeping in the theater, just crying, thinking men would give their lives for something. I mean, really die. And I was just stunned by the story of there's something larger. I want to be a part of something I'd be willing to die for. And up until that point, even though I was a pastor, been a Christian for a while, I don't think I had that.
Gladiator, Braveheart, Legends of the Fall.
Yeah.
River runs through it. There's something in each of those films that awakens me. I want that.
John, I love all those movies you mentioned, but a movie that captured my heart many years ago was Midway. There's something about that movie, just the era of that calls out to me. Captain Matt Garth, played by Charlton Heston, he's dive bombing straight in on the carrier you know, just puts one right down the pipe,
Yep.
blows the whole thing up.
Yep.
I mean, that's where I want to be.
Yeah.
That's where I want to be.
Yeah.
Because he was living in something much larger than himself.
Yeah.
John, you mentioned A River Runs Through It. Just love that movie. And what strikes me about that is it's caught in an era of time where men were required to be men. I mean, there was something substantial and masculine about their place in the world. There's something about that I want to go there,
Yep.
and I want to be caught up in a life that really requires me to be more than what I usually find myself living out of.
I was captured by the recent version of King Arthur. King Arthur is just a man of great wisdom, and he's built a kingdom, a domain where peace reigns and people prosper, and yet he knows that war is just on the other side of that, to maintain that and to fight for people and to sacrifice his life as well. That captured me.
Here's the next question. Who do you want to be? In those movies, who are the guys that you say, to be like that?
Who do we want to be, or who are we afraid we might be?
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Big difference.
Start with who do you want to be?
Okay.
Who do you want to be?
You want to be the hero. You want to be the main guy, the guy who comes through.
Yeah.
And you know that's true, that's what you desire, but you almost feel funny saying it.
Yeah.
Because there's some part of us that seems resigned to, I'll have a B role.
Gare, what about you? Who do you want to be?
Well, I mentioned King Arthur. I love the wisdom with which he reigns and rules and lives. Now, the other one that captures me, of course, is Gladiator. And just a subtitle that they had on an advertisement was simply the sentence, "A hero will rise." And just that alone captures me, because I just want to think that the hero in me will rise when it needs to be there.
First time I saw Gladiator, I was crying at the end of the movie. I mean, just kind of quietly trying to hide it from everybody else, but there was just something in me. I was filleted by it. There's the man I want to be. There's something about Maximus. He is a man of genuine strength. He's the real deal. And the same exact thing happened in Braveheart. I mean, I want to be Wallace, right? I want to be the guy that's leading the charge, rushing the fields. You know, I want to be the guy who is full of quiet strength, confidence, integrity, willing to take risks, knows who he is, knows what his place in the larger story is about. He has a mission. He has a calling to him. He has a destiny.
You know, I go back to Midway. I mean, it's Admiral Spruance. At the moment of truth, he didn't blink. Wow. That's who I want to be.
Wow.
That's awesome.
This is core, isn't it? I mean, you pull 100 men and you ask them favorite movies, who do they want to be, what's the role they want, and it will be something like this. There's a universality to it, because when God gives the image, he gives it at the level of gender. It's either as a man or as a woman that we bear the image of God. It's not just people. You know, he doesn't just make human beings. He makes men or women. And you listen to the desires of a man's heart, things that make him come alive, the things he wants to do. Yeah. And you look at your own heart and you go, that's it. Yeah. That's it. There's glimpses there. There's some nerve that's just touched. There's some part of me, the core of who I am, that's awakened by that. Think about boyhood. I mean, just watch little boys and what they want to do. It's exactly those scenes. It's the clinch scenes. It's the final moment. They're always setting up the battle, you know, the adventure.
The neighborhood I grew up in, it seemed like there were 150 boys in this small block, and we're all the boys and the sons of the Korean or Second World War veterans, and so we'd put on our father's helmets, canteens strapped to our waist. We would just stuff our pockets with tangerines. Those were our grenades. We had our pop guns, and we would be in our little platoons patrolling the neighborhood. And we weren't plain Army. We were kind of living in that male identity for that age. We were protecting the neighborhood from Nazis and the darkness that pervaded.
See, here's the deal. Little boy wants to know, am I powerful? Am I dangerous? Have I got what it takes? Little girl says, am I lovely? You know, do you see me? Will you fight for me? Do you delight in me? There's the two genders. And somewhere along the line, it gets lost. Somewhere in the transition, as we go through life, as we take the wounds, as culture hammers us into its identity, we lose heart. We lose heart. And you don't see men taking risks and playing the hero. You see them playing it safe and holding back and giving up their desires for a battle to fight, an adventure to live, a beauty to rescue. They don't live there. Something's lost, something essential to who and what we are and what we want to be. What is it that you want to be known as a man?
I just want people to say, Gary was strong, he was wise and discerning, and he was willing to give that to me when I needed it. He didn't hold it back. Even if it meant some sort of loss for him, he would give that to me.
Courageous. That I had it when it was time to come through, that I had what it took.
I want to be remembered as a man who lived in a much larger reality than day-to-day life. I had what was needed in the moments of greatest testing, that I really could come through.
To hear the words, well done, really strike me deeply. To hear the final evaluation as well done, well done.
On the negative side, it would kill me if at the end of it all, what people say about John is he was just a great guy. He was just such a sweet man. He was such a nice man. That would kill me. I want them to say his sons are valiant because of the way he raised them. His wife is radiant because of the way he fought for her. I want them to say of me, he was daring. He risked. He took risks. He fought well. And because of his life, I'm free. That's what I want. See, God set within every one of us a heart. Proverbs 4:23, watch over your heart, because from it flows the well springs of life. And it doesn't just say, watch over your heart casually. It says, watch over your heart with everything you've got, because it is the source of life within you. He gave to us a masculine heart as men. And if we are going to find out who we are really and what we're made for, if we're going to find that man, we've got to get our heart back. That's what I want. I want more of that. That's the journey I'm on. And I am grateful that you're on it too.
You know, it's just nothing like being out here, outdoors. There's just something about being out here that just, you know, speaks to your heart, calls you out.
Yeah, it's true. Morgs, how was the ride?
Wow, it was really great. It was really great. It kind of felt like a rite of passage in a way. I mean, as soon as you get near the horse and touch it, that apprehension kind of stirs up, and it seems like part of your heart really is still a young boy from that kind of experience I had at 8, but kind of through riding, you feel like it gets initiated and it feels more like a man when you get off.
It was just great to be doing together. You know, I don't know that on my own at this stage I'd want to go horseback riding per se.
Yeah.
But doing it together, the different personalities of the horses, each of our different personalities, and just kind of being in it together.
Here's what's fascinating. When God creates Adam, you look at Genesis chapter 2, he creates him outside the garden. Adam is created outside of Eden, and then God brings him into Eden. Men don't have a nesting instinct. Man was born in the outback. Adam was created in the wilderness. And there's something about getting out that it brings that back. It brings a whole side of us alive.
Yeah. There's something happening here that feels a little deeper and truer than just I successfully stayed on a horse and made it on the trail.
Right. You know, a lot of guys are with us right now. They're like, oh, I love it. I love to hunt, or I love to camp, or I love, the ocean or sailing. I'm with you, But there are, I think, a larger number of guys who are comfortable being in front of the TV. Love putting on a suit and being at the office. And what I want to wonder about for a second is why? What is it that causes a lot of men to avoid this and to stay at home, frankly, in a tamer environment? Why do you think that is?
Well, my first thought is just predictability. We're on horses, and these horses have been trained, but it felt very unpredictable to me.
Exactly.
I think so many men have just settled for what life has given them, and they say that's as good as it gets. And even though there's something deep inside them that says there is more to life, that they've just kind of come to rest where they are.
I'm one of those guys who loves college basketball, and I could spend a lot of time in front of the TV watching the NCAA tournament. But it doesn't really require a whole lot from me.
Exactly.
And I can get some sense of competition, excitement, accomplishment vicariously. But it doesn't do it. It's over, and I'm still kind of an empty guy.
On the one hand, God has set within us this masculine heart, and we know that we're made for battle, adventure, and beauty. We know it. Even if it's only in the films we love, it's there, right? And we have a question. Can I? Am I? Am I the kind of man that can live that life, right? That question does not get answered at the kitchen table. It doesn't. It doesn't get answered in a cubicle. It doesn't get answered at the mall, right? It's leaving the comfortable, the secure, and the tame for the unpredictable, for that which is larger than me, that which is out of my control. It's here that a man is tested. And it's in a situation like this that our deeper questions about ourselves come up. Can I do this? What happens if this horse rolls on me, And will I take that, Or is the little boy in me going to be afraid?
My horse today, you guys saw it. My horse loved being a follower. I didn't want to break off into the lead. I would try and get it out in front, resistant. Where my horse was most comfortable was with its nose in the butt of the horse in front of it. And I'm looking at this horse go, come on, man, get out, take charge, take lead. And Morgan asked the question if that's how I was living my life. And, it's a threatening question, and I think a whole lot of my life has lived that way, just right behind someone in front of me who's called the leader, and stay there for 30, 40 years, and that's our life.
I mean, think of that. That's how many men just default, I think, because of their life, because of maybe the wounds and the lack of opportunity and the lack of initiation into this, they just default to nose to the rear end of the guy in front of them, 40 years, 50 years, doing the corporate deal, right?
Yeah.
See, when God sets that heart within us for adventure and battle and the beauty, it's an invitation to come and live that out. This is who I meant you to be. It's God calling a man out. The Spirit led Christ into the wilderness. God took Elijah into the wilderness. He's calling a man out of his comfort zone to discover who he is and that he does have what it takes. There's a genuine strength there, and he will never learn it anywhere else. It can't be learned on the sofa.
You could tell me as friends that I have what it takes, that I have a heart of courage and strength.
Yep.
But that only goes so far until I am tested and I passed the test.
Exactly.
And there's something that says, well, I was stronger than I thought.
Absolutely. And therefore, God's work with a man, with any one of us, you look at our journeys and our stories, it looks like this. It is taking a man through a series of initiation tests and trials. Here's a ornery horse, right? Or here's a Jeep you don't know how to fix and it just broke down in the middle of traffic. It is taking us into those situations that raise our fears and then show us through that how to live as men. Walter Brueggemann describes God as wild, unfettered, dangerous, and free. Is that what life has invited you to be as a man?
That's an invitation that as you say that, you go, yes, there's something about those words that feel like there is an invitation. But boy, from my church, my friends, my parents, my family, I mean, the invitation didn't come from those places.
My whole life, the message has been, get your nose, in line and do what's right. Be safe, be good, be tame.
And when we look around out here, I mean, none of that speaks to tameness. I mean, this is wild, it's dangerous.
So, race you back.
Come on, yeah! Yeah, come on! Hey, stop!
Great,
Finally.
really good.
It's that rhythm.
That was awesome.
That was great.
Yeah.
Well done, buddy.
Okay, now, from my vantage point, I couldn't tell who won. Who won?
I loved it. That horse I was on was a rocket. Pudge was not the right name for that thing.
I came in on one stirrup. He was going left, and then he turned right, and I went up like that.
And the ride back in, bringing them in. That's what it's all about.
I think we live today. I think so many days I don't live. And I long for more days where I can live.
I feel the adrenaline.
I feel adrenaline and a certain soreness. There were moments of beauty and moments of just encouragement. And then there were moments where it felt like, yeah, this is what I'm after right here.
That was fun. I felt like it came together. I was on the horse and we were all moving together. That was good.
It was great.
That's a lot.
It was
That's
really,
a lot of
we were in the valley, and we just went full barrel. I think it was the first time I just went with everything I had.
Best line in Braveheart. Wallace says, "All men die. Few men ever really live."
That's so good.
Do you feel like something in you came alive today as a man?
I think the answer to that is yes, but the fight is harder.
Nothing is more fiercely opposed than your coming alive as a man.
Yeah,
Because that is so dangerous for good.
yeah. I think it feels so true.
Yeah.
You know, you do see a film clip. You listen to a great piece of music. You have a day like today where though it was spiced with other things, we keep getting taste of it.
Yep.
That just, you're so aware, I want more.
Yeah.
And to settle for less or to have less sounds like to compromise with misery.
Yeah. And I think that's where a man starts on the journey. And that's what sustains a man who is well into his journey. Both turn on desire. It's the desire of the masculine heart. What do you want? What do you want? For the rest of my life, I want to...
The immediate word that came to my mind was freedom and passion. I want to live in the glory of God's call and the identity He's given me.
Yeah.
I want to live purposefully. I want to live aggressively. And I want to live in exactly who I am.
I want to first discover who I am, believe that, and then live with abandon and courage and offer that to the world, ransoming people, setting them free to walk as God's intimate allies.
I think for me, it's who God made me to be, because I've lived on the other side a lot of my life, and there's a lot of disappointment in that, a lot of discouragement, but I've tasted the other side, and it's freedom.
Yep.
It's being in this band of brothers that I think helps us all on this journey.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to do this alone, I'd be so lost.
Yeah.
Just, it doesn't work.
John, you know that thought of don't ask what the world needs,
Yep.
but ask what makes you come alive, because ultimately that's what this world needs, and I just think that is so good and so true. What is needed are men and women who are just alive.
I have come that you may have life and have it to the full, to make a man or a woman fully alive. This series is going to be kind of like a game of rugby. We're gonna pass the ball back and forth. We're going to take it down the field, and then we're going to toss it to the men watching this. And now it's their turn.
There's a little anxiety, leaning back against the wide open.
A man has to walk into his fears. We don't hide our fears. We admit them and we walk into them.
Once you start and you break through that first barrier of fear, you realize you can handle the situation.
Every man has a question. Every man shares the exact same question. Down inside, every man is wondering, have I got what it takes? I was afraid because I was naked, and so I hid. You don't need to be a psychologist to understand a man. Understand that verse, and all the men you know will come into crystal clear focus. Welcome back. In part 2, we're going to take an honest look at the poser that every man creates and the fear behind him. For all of us, like Adam, have gone into hiding. All of us, like Adam, are afraid that we are not what we were meant to be as a man.
Big loop in front.
Yeah, get your harnesses, leg loops in front there.
Which are the leg loops?
All right, hold the waistband like that, step into the feet. There's 1 and 2.
I feel like I'm going
Right.
to the prom.
Shimmy it up.
Okay.
You may want to loosen that up
Loosen
a bit.
that up some.
I mean, you want a little uncomfortable.
We're there. I'm
Pretty
there.
snug then, huh?
Yeah, leg straps.
Like straps.
Okay,
Pretty
we're-
tight.
Tighten them up.
Pull me up. Let's go.
All right. You're doing great.
You sure I don't have this on upside down?
We're made in the image of the Lion of Judah. Wild, dangerous, unfettered, and free. Is that how you normally feel? I mean, is that